So I've been having some challenging conversations with clients recently. It's around sensitive documents or losing sensitive documents or trying to find sensitive documents. And most of the situations have occurred because there's been a former employee that has chosen to leave. And then certain contractual issues need to be discussed or disclosed or being considered as part of that, especially when it's a more senior person. But it's not only that, there's also project files that have gone missing and such like for a variety of reasons. And it highlights the importance of managing your content effectively and securing it and keeping it safe, especially sensitive documents like contracts, invoices, quotes, all of that sort of stuff. Anything that has a financial or contractual impact on your business. And this sort of brings up a further issue around content management, compliance, and electronic records management. And this is something that I've been doing quite a lot when I was working in the enterprise space. But at the smaller end of town, um, most organizations aren't quite mature enough yet to start putting into place these more rigid records management and compliance controls in place. It's that they're still in the forming and growing and trying to find their feet in the business world. So there's other priorities than considering this, but it's a big risk, and you don't realize how big a risk it is until something unfortunate happens. Maybe it's a one of your employees, their device gets compromised in some way and then starts causing havoc across your network. And this is how ransomware occurs, in that one person's device gets compromised and it just starts going out throughout the whole system. And it's a big problem. Now, there are a lot of ways of mitigating this. There's this philosophy known as zero trust, or a zero trust methodology, which requires reducing security to a point that you only have access to the things that you need. And if there are elevated rights where you need it, then they only have that for a short period of time. But again, this is a maturity thing and it takes time to put in place. But there's a couple of other things that you can do to protect you and your business. Number one is make sure that you, especially if you've got a cloud based service from either Microsoft or Google, that you have a third party backup solution in place. One that takes multiple snapshots every day is ideal and stores in an off site encrypted location. The reason for this is that all those files that are changed, deleted, or etc., are stored in historical checkpoints going back in time for however long you've got that backup solution in place. This could protect you in the event that a file goes missing that you need. Ransomware, this is the strategy you use to recover from one of those incidents. You go back in time to capture all the data before it was damaged. But there's also the other one, which is the insider risk. This is an individual, either maliciously or accidentally, that deletes a whole pile of information that's quite important to your business. A backup can help with that. The next thing I'll look at is around the various compliance controls. In the Microsoft 365 world, we call this labels, and you can actually label documents and put then, once those documents have been labeled, either through automation or through manual intervention, you can put certain controls on them. And these controls can be things like blocking sharing externally, stopping it from files from being emailed or downloaded, and even blocking files from being deleted. In some cases, you can allow files to be deleted, but they're always available in a special hidden area that is accessible to a tool like eDiscovery. And that leads on to the next piece, that we've got backup so we can protect in case of an issue. So that's option one. Compliance or labeling, etc., and using the controls and tools there to actually set some physical or technical constraints in place to control how content is accessed. That's number two. The third one is around auditing. You don't know what people are doing unless you have a good audit trail to understand and track these changes. When something bad happens, the very first thing you want to do is discover how, why, when, what, etc. You want to go and do an investigation. Turning on auditing gives you that ability. Microsoft 365 doesn't turn that on by default. You have to manually turn it on. Then, as part of that audit trail, is the ability to use tools like eDiscovery. Now, I'm not sure about Google, but I imagine that they have that, but Microsoft 365 definitely does. This allows you to create massive searches that will trawl through everything that was in your environment to discover content. Very, very important, very useful, and quite often eDiscovery is used for legal discovery, right? It's to determine what was said by who, when. You can go through chats, emails, files, and a bunch of other things. So there's the three top tips. Make sure you got backup in place. Consider putting in compliance labels and other controls to control access to content. And thirdly, make sure you've got auditing controls in there and you understand the tools available to you, like eDiscovery, to be able to discover what. Right? These are difficult things to have happen, but always be prepared. And then you're not going to get caught out when something doesn't go the way that you expect.